Howdy, howdy, folks. Thank you so much for being here nice and early. Cubus, Inspector Gadget, Koss, and Floppa holding down the fort on YouTube. Thank you so much for hanging out. We have ads starting up in just... Oh, and Mothman Centaur. Hello, hello. Welcome on in. We're going to be starting just after these ad breaks in a few minutes. Thank you so much for hanging out. How am I feeling? Thank you so much for asking, Inspector Gadget. I am, much better. Definitely not 100%, but like the family is moving forward and we're able to like exist in a space. So that's great. I'm feeling good enough to do some game dev. So thank you so much for asking. I want to hear all about how you all are doing. How's the bathrooms PTSD? Nah, man, that thing had to go live in an institution. We got a new one. And hope you're all doing well. I can't wait to hear how you're doing. Can't wait to hear how your projects are going. Okay, right on. Thanks so much, Mothman. Thanks for hanging out. It's good to see you. And we will be back in just a little bit. Can't wait to catch up with you all. Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Hello. Oh my goodness, it is good to be back. It is good to be here with you all. How are we doing today? How's life going? How are we doing? Impressive lungs. Thank you, Inspector Gadget. Nevis Macaroon. Hello. Welcome on in. Off-Grid Game Dev. Hello. How are we all doing today? How's life going? How are our projects? How are we doing? How are our impossible things that we're working on? Let me see here. I need to fix this tip jar because it is a little bit inundated with things that are not real. I need to empty it out. I am just barely catching up from kind of just dying over the weekend. It was rough. It was quite rough, but very, very happy to be here. I am well enough that I am able to hang out. Seem like you're in better shape. Yes, yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna do some quick tests here and make sure this is all working. Yes, we're like surviving. We're doing all right. So thank you so much. Had an idea for an indie studio name. They seem to usually be very unusual and weird. Okay, I want to hear it, Memphis. Glad to hear you're recovering. How goes it today? Thank you, Queen Anne. Yeah, we're doing okay. We're living, which is a little bit better than we were doing beforehand. So, yeah. It was pretty rough. We just had no energy, no capability, no capacity to really do anything. So, very, very excited to be here. Just realized I can get rid of this letter. This is all spam mail. Oh, goodness. And we're just catching up on life, little bit by little bit. Yeah. It's so good to see you all. How are you today, Queen Anne? Potato paste games, or PP games, instead of tomato paste. Oh, potato paste instead of tomato paste? Okay. Sure, man. Yeah. Go for it. I want to know how it goes. It is so great to see you all. I have wonderful news that as of typing this, Fox Hollow Jam 1. Family, continue, send. As of right now, all of the prizes have been distributed to our Game Jam winners. So that is all done. Big thank you once again to everyone who participated in the Game Jam, whether it was watching, submitting, or just joining but not being quite able to get around to submitting. It was absolutely awesome. Once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that lets us look forward to next time. Isn't that just mashed potatoes? Yeah, you could do potato puree games. Go French cuisine on this. Puts the pitchfork away. Queen Anne, I'm good. Been spending a few hours trying to bug fix some Godot physics issues. Ooh, that's a bummer. I don't envy you. Debugging physics issues, at least in GameMaker, was such a nightmare. I have yet to have to do that in Godot, but I can't imagine it's all that good, even still. So, man, yeah, you're gonna have to be patient with me today. My brain is still not quite 100% here. Okay. Kartoffelpüree Spiel. Hold on. Is that German for mashed potato games? Okay, so I looked this up. I threw that directly into Google. And I am getting something from mobygames.com. Kartoffelpüree der Gemüseshooter. Hordes of vegetables are threatening the earth. Attacking with carrots, green and red pepper, and many other units, they seek to conquer the planet and enslave the human race. You're given a ship and sent out into space to take the fight back to them. It's amazing. Need the electrolytes for real. I've been slamming down Gatorade all morning long. Koss, thank you so much for the subscription. Hello, welcome on in. And Bar Interactive, hello. How's your pre-launch prep going? How you doing? For all of you who are unaware of Bar, let me send a quick shout out here. They are making Deja Drift. I remembered the name this time. Deja Drift, and streaming the development. It's this really wild, I don't even know how to describe it. Synthwave sort of driving experience. I'll leave it to you to describe the gameplay, but they've been prepping for launch for the past little while. So if you ever want to see like what it takes to get a game launch ready, instead of what I do around here, which is tinker around with a bunch of projects way early in phases and then abandon them, go follow Bar. The epic battles you guys have had, your body needs it. Yeah, no, for real, Inspector. It's been rough. And then, you know, we've got like a 2-month-old and a 3-year-old who does not want to sleep in her own room. So, like, those were rough nights. Those were very, very rough nights. It's a strange experience. I've been switching up if statements, but no matter what, no change. We'll let you know if I solve it. Oh, man, please do, Queen Anne. Yeah, that sounds rough. Sorry. Memphis, having ideas for Gold for Glory, where you create warrior types. Nice. So if you have the shield and sword unlocked, you could make that a warrior, would spawn only when both sword and shield are available. Okay, very cool. Or if you wish to have rangers with bow and dagger. Very cool. Memphis, have you ever heard of Battle Realms? Have you ever heard of Battle Realms? Because that may be something to look at as inspiration while you're looking through this. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me, what am I doing? Battle Realms, gosh. Okay. So, Battle Realms was a game that came out a long time ago. And it's like a cult classic RTS, where you have your units that you recruit, but they don't just get recruited. You have to, like, pass them through multiple buildings in order to actually train them up. So, like, you recruit a tier 1 unit, but then you have to as well. Oh, geez, 360p is the highest this goes. So he's sending his units through multiple buildings in here to like continue leveling them up. So like you send them into the barracks and you get a swordsman, and then you send them into the archery range and then you get like a cannoneer, right? Sort of stuff. Really interesting thing, maybe worth looking at for you. Okay. It's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but with a car, says Bar. Okay, I'm going to write that down because I've had to, like, describe this multiple times on stream, and I'm like, man, I really wish Bar were here to, like, tell me how to describe this. Tony Hawk, but with a car. Okay. Perfect. Deja Drift. I've got you in my spreadsheet now. Okay. Floppa throwing down the memes as always over on YouTube. In an 80s vaporware aesthetic. Okay, so I keep saying synth, like synth punk or synth wave, and maybe that's not quite. So vaporware. In a vaporwave. Jeez. Today, you guys, it's going to be a thing. What are we working on? I am going to be working on refactoring our Game Jam project, which is a Dexterity Roguelike, into something that is maintainable so I can actually start building it better. So we've got this kind of Helldivers 2 sort of combo system over here where we have to click on these colors in the right order in order to do special powers. And it's a very big mess because I didn't know literally anything about Godot. I downloaded Godot and started working on this. So it's, you know, in a state, so to speak. So that's what we're going to be working on here today. Have you ever heard or played Skull? That sounds really familiar. Skull game. Yeah, Skull the Hero Slayer. I think I saw like Jesse Cox play this when it came out ages ago, like doing a preview of it. I have not played it, but I really want to. It is on my wish list. Okay. No worries, Bar. Thanks for hanging out. Good to see ya. PokeJohn, hello. How you doing? My brother loves Skull, has like over 100 hours. Oh, it's a roguelike? I didn't even know it was a roguelike. Shoot. Is it really? I always thought it was like a campaign game. Action roguelike. Yeah, that's in the tags. Oh. Huh. Hold on. This was in 2021. Okay, the fact that it came out in 2021 and is a roguelike means this is not the game I thought it was. I've seen it around, but I've never really... Because I just assumed it was this one game that I saw, like, gosh, near a decade ago, probably. Okay. Well, there you go. Added to the wish list. Who's Jesse Cox? It's the old lore, Floppa. Jesse Cox is a YouTuber who I have had kind of a love-hate relationship with. And I think he would giggle at that and say, I completely understand. Oh, that sound. That intro makes me so sad because it has Total Biscuit in it. And I know Total Biscuit stupidly became a figure of controversy, which is the dumbest thing ever. But, man, I owe Total Biscuit quite a lot in terms of my way that I think about games. Anyways, Jesse Cox was one of that crew way back in the day, over a decade ago. I came across him when he was doing the Terraria videos with Total Biscuit, and just absolutely amazing. He's a great dude. He's done all sorts of great work. I'm not subscribed on my foxhollowgames account. I'm gonna fix that. Very funny guy. Occasionally gets into stuff like friends with benefits and stuff. Gets a little overly sexual for my sentiments, but overall quite enjoy Jesse Cox. When he doesn't get absolutely ridiculous, in terms of the sexualization. I quite enjoy him. So, okay. Been going through Godot courses, having a great time. 60% of the way through this one. Got to keep on going. Just barely learned about Godot's particle systems. So that was rad. I'm excited to dive into what we're working on. Because I've been learning a lot about like how to structure things in Godot and all that sort of stuff. And I've been going through and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like I need to fix this all up quite a lot. You've only beaten the first guy, Floppa? Okay. His name is Jesse Cox. What do you expect? I know, right, Floppa? The courses, I'm quite enjoying them, Floppa. I'm kind of past the point where it's like, here is how to program in general. Whereas before I had them on like double speed and was skipping through a bunch of them. And then it kind of got to the point where like I would see, okay, what is this next step that we're building? I'd pause and then I would go and build it and then see how they did it and kind of compare. Now to the point where I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. I'm going to like watch the whole thing. And it's been great. It's been really cool. It's been really good to get a lot of these fundamentals down that I totally missed when I was just, speed running through this in order to build something for the Game Jam. And I'm still trying to debate if I should enter the Jackie Codes Game Jam. I think I need to decide that like today if I'm going to do that or not. I don't know. Would people be interested in watching doing Jackie Codes Game Jam? I was looking at something more simpler where you get a list with all unlocked items and you click plus and a new row is made. Then you set a cross on the items you wish that fighter is. Sure. Yeah. No, I think that's very fair, Nemphis. I think a lot of the times just like seeing a wide array of like how do other people solve this problem can lead you to come up with even cooler thoughts. So that was the intention with which that was delivered. But if you've got an idea you're excited about, then by all means, that's super rad. Jack, hello. I'm doing very well. How are you, sir? How's life? If you like suffering, get Skull. There's no saves or anything. You die, you lose everything. The bosses are insane. I mean, isn't that how roguelikes go in general? Is it like a long roguelike? Are the runs long in Skull? That is one thing. I do not have the time for games that do not respect my time. Like there was a game that I played ages and ages and ages ago, and I quite enjoyed it, and I got a little bit of the way through it, and then I died, and I like had to restart hours worth of work, and I was like, no, I didn't get to your save point you wanted me to get to after that much time. Nope, I can't do it. You'd watch Jackie Codes? Okay. Thanks, Jack. Had a lot of uni work recently, but I'm through most of it. Well, I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like that's kind of the way things have been for a lot of people recently, that it's finally starting to kind of wind down on the school front a little bit. We are heading into the May time frame, so that makes sense. Man, going through my old Steam list, there's so much in here that's like, oh, man. Like, Fistful of Frags, last played 2014. Firewatch, 2016. Man. Old stuff, man. And so many that I haven't even played. Karateka, 2012. Woo! King's Quest. Oh, King's Quest. Last Remnant that I only got like 2 hours into. Man. The runs average like an hour, 30 minutes. Jeez. Minimum? That's a crazy long roguelike run. Holy cow. That's a really long roguelike. Or roguelite, or whatever it is. I got to the last boss in Skull with the best skull in the game, and he started going light speed pounding me. You got exams in 3 weeks. Okay. So like end of May is when it'll kind of wrap up. That's good. Had that incident with Ori in the Blind Forest this week. Lost 10 minutes of progress because it was the first time jumping down into a hole was instant death. Oh no. Yeah, I don't see, like, precision platformers, I so rarely have the time or attention or patience to deal with. Like, I played through like all of Shovel Knight up to the point that I got it. I had a ton of DLCs at that point, but I'm sure more have come out since then. And I really enjoyed a lot of Shovel Knight. And also it drove me bananas because instant death mechanics drive me crazy. I have crazy ADHD and my brain just like cannot deal with like doing the same thing over and over again, or like the same situation over and over again. Oh man, it's not for me. It would drive me crazy. And my wife would be like, Joe, are you having fun? Are you doing okay? Yes, I'm having fun. Of course I'm having fun. Oh shoot. Rotwood just released. I already sunk 12 hours on the playtest and demo while not having... Okay. Well, Cubis, that's a pretty big recommendation. Rotwood? What's Rotwood? Let's check this out. Rotwood. The world has been thrown into chaos, and it's up to you and your friends to battle the corrupted beasts of the Rotwood. Upgrade your gear, choose your preferred weapon, and hone your skills to defend your safe haven. Early access online co-op dungeon crawler. Okay. Interesting. So it's a straight up... Oh, it's from Cly. Oh. Well, Cly does great work. I'm glad they're doing like I don't know. I was never a big fan of Don't Starve, I'm not gonna lie. Just survival crafting games are just not my jam. But I adored Mark of the Ninja and their previous work as well. I can't remember the name. The Daggers dude, red bandana guy. And this looks really stylish, which is exactly what you'd expect from Cly. So is it kind of like Castle Crashers-y type sort of experience? Like, I'm not getting from the trailer, like, is there meta progression? Is this a rogue? Rubik's Cube. Boss, foxhollowgames question. As I have learned that Octopath Traveler is a 2D world with 3D combat, is it hard to mix the two types together? Rubik's, honestly, I would send that to the community because I don't know. I know in Godot, you can swap between 2D and 3D relatively easily. I would wager the same thing would be true in Unity. I don't know in Unreal. So a lot of it would depend on the engine that you're using. And, of course, the implementation and your expertise in it. Ooh, geez, sorry. And your expertise in it. So without some more details there, I'm afraid that's probably the best answer you're going to get, Rubik's. Because, like, if we go to Godot, you could see I've got 2D, and then I got 3D, and then scripts, right? So like if I wanted to have a 3D scene, I could just make a 3D scene and I could transition to it. And like, it's pretty much okay. I don't think that would cause any problems. I don't think there would be any issues with like transferring data between the two or anything. Like, I think it would probably just work as long as you're not using this, as long as you have like unique objects for your 2D version and your 3D version, right? So if you're trying to move your 2D characters into the 3D world and then trying to move them along Cartesian coordinates like that, I would guess you'd have some complications. You need to like maybe operate in 3D, but then treat it as 2D when you're in 2D. I don't know. You'd have to ask someone who's much better at development than I am, would be my guess. But those are my quick thoughts. I love Ori so much, the second one specifically. I never played the second one. I need to. I want to get to the second one, but I'm going to need time away after that move they did. I want to get to the second, but I'm going to need time away after that move they did. I'm confused. Hey, 2D Fighters, good to see you on YouTube. I hate the combat in Don't Starve so much. I loved Mark of the Ninja so much. Really bothered by the first weapon you get since it's a slow hammer, and I hate slow weapons, but the others are super fun. Okay, Cubis. So is it a rogue? Is it a base builder? Like, given that they're kind of coming off of Don't Starve and how long they stuck with that, I would imagine some sort of base building in here. Do you guys think I should actually try Under the Gungeon? I mean, why not, Floppa? I mean, if you've got the money and you want to, go for it. Sink some time into it. What does Cly make? They've made Don't Starve. They've made Mark of the Ninja. They made... what else have they made? Oh, Oxygen Not Included. And Griftlands. I didn't know that. Hot Lava. And then... Oh, and Invisible Ink. Man, they've done a lot of stuff. Shank. That was their first one. Shank was a great game. Very stylish brawler game. Most of the difficulty in Don't Starve's combat was due to its controls. Rubik's Cube, you are using Godot. Okay, yeah. Hey, Robotech, good to see ya. It is a roguelike, few meta progression things, but you can unlock more weapons, some mild upgrades, and most importantly, new areas. Okay, very cool, Cubis. Have you ever played or heard of Spider Hack? I think I already said this, but Spider Hack. Yeah, okay, I haven't tried it, but I did follow along with its development in the indie game subreddits, and I did see it evolve quite a lot. It seems really cool. Yeah. I don't do a lot of party games. I don't have like a space for local multiplayer, nor do I have a lot of IRL friends who are really into games like I am. Or if I do, like they are family people, and so like, you know, who has time to go spend an evening at a friend's house playing games. But yeah. Probably plays like Cult of the Lamb without base building. Okay. Yeah, okay. Interesting. To clarify, that move I was referring to was Instant Death Pit I ran into. Gotcha, Queen Anne. Thank you. There's a large base hub area, but there was nothing there to build in the playtest. Okay, interesting. Got on PlayStation for free because of PlayStation Plus, but only did the tutorial. It seems, yeah, I mean, sure. Go try it. I mean, it's a classic. It's a classic roguelike. If you like bullet hells, it'll be right up your alley. They have GDC. That's pretty good. What do you mean they have GDC, Tootie Fighter? Oddsparks also released and looks really... Cubus. Oddsparks, Steam. You just gotta... Okay. All right. What is this? No, I don't want your developer stream. A blend of automation and real-time strategy for both the diehard fans of the automation genre and the automation curious. Explore a strange fantasy world, uncover the mysteries of the past, automate your workshops, and go on adventures with your automobile. This last part, go on adventures, is what is the most compelling part of this. Because for me, like these optimization, survival crafting type sort of games just have no interest for me. I have no interest in just optimizing something. However, if I'm going to like do something with it that's interesting, I'm all for it. Like if it's going to enhance a compelling dungeon crawl, like I'm probably going to be there for that. I'm very curious about it. The problem is all that core gameplay loop usually tends to focus on optimization and very little on like the adventuring type sort of stuff. Like Valheim kind of did it, but even that was like pretty rough. So it's like Pikmin-y as well. I wonder if I could like design a survival crafting game that I would actually enjoy. Because so much of what I hate about them is that you need to just follow a wiki. Like you don't know how to play the game until you know how to play the game, right? Like you can't just like go along and discover it without a tremendous amount of patience, which I do not have. As well, we have ads starting in just a minute. We live so far away, otherwise I'd come over all the time. Well, you'd be more than welcome, Cos. Never thought I agreed to who has time to spend time at a friend's house playing games. The official old man mark. I know, 2D Fighter, right? Another fun game made by the people who made Spider-Heck is Stick Fight, the game. Stick Fight, the game. I have put this on ignored. It's probably on ignored because it is, yeah, physics-based couch online fighting game. Where, like, I don't have the ability to really indulge in that right now, you know? Maybe later in my life, maybe like when my kids are in school or something, but right now it's just not a thing. Like Duck Game as well. Duck Game was another one that was like, everyone adored. This was another one that Total Biscuit covered way back, yeah, 2015, jeez. The people just adored and loved, and like, there's nothing in it for me. It's just, there's nothing for me there, unfortunately. So, yeah. I kind of wish that there were. I'd love to have that sort of a life, but life is what it is. The textbook style of learning a game is becoming less and less appealing. Yeah, I agree with you, Queen Anne. I agree with you. You know, I mean, you look back at the olden days where there were manuals. Like, hold on, I've got a relic from the old times. Let me grab it real quick. Got it. Found it. This. Back when games had these manuals. You would buy a game, and it would come with a manual. Do you want to see how thick this thing is? Look at all of that information in there. And this is at the late stage, too. This is no Betrayal of Condor or Wizardry or something, right? Where, like, they would ship, like, you would have to read all of this to know how to play those games back in the day. You would have to. This is gone, and that's for better and worse, to be frank. You shouldn't have to read a book in order to play a game. But there was also something incredibly charming about these things. That, you know, you just is completely lost. Like, look at this. Chapter 5, your character, here's your inventory panel. But they would work in, like, lore into the game and all sorts of stuff. And there was something almost sort of meditative. And they'd come with, like, maps and all sorts of cool stuff. And there is something, yeah, Queen Anne, there's something about that textile experience that is gone. And I don't mean to be the old man saying back in the day things were better, because, I mean, they weren't. But I do think there is value in that. I think there's something interesting and compelling about that has been lost. And I would love to see a remarriage of what we have learned and what we had. Your only move is hustle versus yeah. Your only move is hustle. I have seen really cool stuff about. Hakai Pico 8. Momentum-based aerial fighting game. Wow. This looks like an itch page. This looks exactly like an itch page. Okay. I don't know how to do anything in this. The mouse doesn't work. Enter doesn't work. Space doesn't work. I can't seem to select anything. I don't know how this works. And you would read it on the way home. Yes, Off-Grid. Your mom would drive you to Blockbuster and you'd rent a game or go to GameStop, buy a game, and then you'd read the manual in the car on the way home. Nowadays, we just call those wikis. See, it was a little bit different, Nicholson. And it's a little hard to describe. But you're right. A lot of that information is contained in the wiki. But, you know, a lot of the reason as to why, like, I can't do this anymore is the same reason that I can't do survival crafting games, because I have to have this. And especially when it's in a wiki, it just feels so much more claustrophobic to me. This, at least I can, like, have open while I play, and I know you can do, like, multiple windows and stuff, but I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. But the lore bits that are in here and all that sort of stuff, and the maps, I mean, I understand those are in wikis as well, but I don't know. There's something about being handed this by the developers instead of it being from a community that is different. And there's something different about a community than being handed by the developers. They both have their strengths. And I think this enhances verisimilitude and a feeling of exploration and awe, whereas a wiki feels more like, to me, this is a community space. This is where you're going to learn how to optimize. And, like, you know, like, a community in a game is always going to respond to a game differently than its developers will. They're going to talk about it differently, right? So it's just interesting. It's just interesting. Exapunks also comes with a manual. We're getting that feeling from learning tabletop RPGs. I understand that, Queen Anne, yeah. I haven't played Tunic before. I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't played it. Sounds like a video topic, says Nicholson. Maybe. Quantic! Hey! Hey, everybody. It's Quantic Flux. Quantic Flux is a rad channel. For those of you who don't know. I'm shouting out their Twitch, but I don't think your Twitch is even really active right now, right, Quantic? Quantic is a, how do I describe this? A starch defender of the indie. I've been watching a lot of their videos recently. Let's bring it over here. And they've shown me some really cool stuff in these videos that I would have had no clue about. It's like, you know how Retromation does a lot of obscure indie games? Quantic Flux does like the really obscure indie games. And does a lot of cool stuff. Like I was just watching the other day Mori Carta, which I found fascinating. This really cool deck building game, but where you only get one card at a time, so there's no hands, and you have to like decide which of these sides you play your cards on that have different costs and benefits. Like this costs 0 mana, this costs 2 mana. You get 5 block, or you upgrade your card, and it gets better for the rest of the fight. And like there's just a lot of really interesting stuff. Anyways, Quantic Flux. I'm gonna throw that channel into chat across Twitch and YouTube. Definitely go follow Quantic Flux. He does a lot of really, really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Pico 8 controls are arrow keys and X and C? What? Why? Hold on. Hold on. We'll get to game dev it someday. Pico 8. Oh, shoot. And this isn't even the right game anymore. Hold on. I need to look up what... Hakai. Okay. Pico 8 Hakai. All right. We'll check it out. We'll check this out. Okay. Moleskio, I didn't have to do it. Or Quantum Flux, I didn't have to do it, but I wanted to do it because I think this community especially could really benefit from seeing what other really cool indie titles are out there. And... Oh, it's C. Okay. And then you can back out, really. That was my problem. I kept on backing out. Let's go with Crazy Pants. Sure. Bomb. That sounds appropriate. I think there's a lot of stuff in the games that you cover that is really interesting. Oh my, this is a DBZ fighter. My goodness. I don't know what I'm doing. This looks cool. I mean, very spectacle-y. Yeah, I'm definitely getting the old, like, SNES DBZ fighter games on it. Vibes. Very cool. All right. I don't have the time to, like, figure out what that is, but that looks cool. Looks rad. Mori Carta was fantastic. I recommend checking out the demo. Oh, I didn't even know they had a demo. That's great. And then I also saw an analysis on Mori Carta by Games Over Coffee Consulting that was really interesting. It was, they submitted their game as like, hey, how can we make the narrative a little bit better? Because they express their narrative through their cards in a written way. And through like these stanza poems. Sorry, that was my Steam, not yours. I just downloaded the Mori Carta demo. They're not going to show me. Anyways, these cards would show up and there'd be a little poem on them. And they were saying, we're kind of committed to this, but like, how can we tell the narrative better? Because people are just skipping it. And he said, his theory was integrate this into the narrative. Like have different options on both sides with, you know, someone is trying to burn down the library. And you say, no, stop playing with fire. Or I'm going to take you out if you do that. And they both lead to different consequences, right? Like, I thought that was an interesting idea. Anyways, Games Over Coffee is another great channel to check out. Fantasy console emulates the cross button plus AB. Okay, cool. Cool. You had to buy the strategy guide to unlock all the wiki content, Moleskio, yeah. So, okay, when... Oh my gosh, I'm falling so far behind on chat. Hey, Tom, good to see ya. When Smash Brothers Ultimate was announced, it was also the, like, last strategy guide that, I think it was Prima? They announced it was like their last strategy guide they were ever going to do was for Smash Brothers Ultimate. And I was like, okay, this is the culmination of the Smash Brothers franchise. And it is the terminus of Prima strategy guides. I have to do this. So I got the hardbound collector's edition version of that strategy guide. And I think I opened it up like twice. But it's like a coffee table book for me. I have it out so that people can come and take a look at it and start conversations. Because it's just like this tremendous piece of different parts of gaming history I really wanted to commemorate. I'll be the next person to recommend you Tunic then. Its main premise is that you're handed the manual for the game page by page, and it really amplifies the experience of flipping through a book. Cool. Yeah, I need to check it out. And I understand there's like a lot of ARG stuff in Tunic as well. I don't know. I gotta find the time to go through that. Keep as is. People that don't want to read lore won't. People that do will change gameplay to learn about it. It's true, Jack, but like when we're talking about game craftsmanship, right? That is different from making a good game. Making a good game is like, I have created something that people enjoy playing. When you get into craftsmanship of game making, it is, how can I refine every part of this to be as powerful and impactful as it possibly can, right? And so when we start discussing craftsmanship, I think it's very helpful to talk about, like, how do you have, like, if you're going to have a narrative be a part of your game, and it's not some just abstract puzzler, how do you integrate that narrative in a way that reinforces the game and what it is trying to accomplish? So the example this guy gave, I need to look up the video because it was really, really good. Games over coffee, consulting. Yeah, this one. I'm going to throw this link in chat as well. So he basically says Half-Life 2 has this amazing moment where you walk forward and this security guard knocks over the can and tells you to pick it up. And he says this was so impactful and narratively rich because it involved the player and it taught them mechanics they needed in order to play the game. And the reason that this narrative falls flat, here it is because it's just kind of there. And people skip it and it doesn't have any relation into the mechanics. So he goes on and he talks about the way you incorporate this is to incorporate those choices into the game, incorporate the narrative into the gameplay somehow, right? Like, you're going to burn down the library, or please, I'm begging you to stop. I don't think it's quite so simple as he's saying it is necessarily, mostly because of narrative context here. In Half-Life 2, this dude is in a position of power, and you are Gordon Freeman. You've played as Gordon Freeman before. You know he is an amazing, strong, powerful character. And so being put into this position of weakness is very contrasting against what you're expecting. And you know it's not going to stay there, but it's a shocker, right? And it kind of makes you want to rebel against these guys and to fight against these guys, which they get you to really quickly. But by lowering the player down and saying this is a dangerous world, they then make you feel incredible by making you just walk all over that whole entire world. Whereas in Mori Carta, you are a scholar. You are, a servant of this god or something. I'm not going to lie. The narrative is still kind of unclear to me. And then you're interacting with this fool who's playing with fire. And, like, you are in a position of power now dealing with someone that you cannot control, and that is a frustrating experience. So one is attention-grabbing and impactful and reinforces, ooh, yeah, now I'm feeling great. This one is more like you have your younger sibling that your parents told you have to bring along, but you have no ability to discipline. It's kind of that sort of an experience. I think that's a little bit trickier as well. Okay. Quantic. The Mori Carta lore was really interesting, but your character didn't really have much influence on the events that were happening. Yes. You're kind of along for the ride while the fool who had gotten possessed by the main antagonist goes around doing things. Not sure if that was just the scholar story, the first character, or if the other characters are similar. Yeah, Quantic, that I was really struggling to follow along with it. I'm not gonna lie, because you have your oh, hold on, I'm in the way. You have your character over here, right? You're the scholar, and then you have the fool, which is like this card in your deck, and then you have like this god that is possessing extra dimensional creatures and like transporting you between realms, and it was just like, I don't know who you are in this game. Like, I don't know what the story is. What is the thread? It all felt very kind of like way too loosely woven. And I think by integrating the choices, and that is one thing I even left a big long comment on it, and he responded that integrating the choices into it would clarify a lot more what the player's role in that story was. Because as it is, you're just reading these kind of cool poems, which, like, is cool, but kind of hard to track. Queen Anne, I agree I have a heavy word count in my game, but I work to make it more than just flavor. Very nice, Anne. Yeah, words are great. I like words. I'm quite a verbose individual. It's a problem. It's... Oh, I feel so bad for Nicholson, whoever has to edit any of my videos. because I talk a lot and I ramble a lot. And it's not great for YouTube. Okay. Speaking of which, it's a little bit better for Twitch. It's not great for YouTube. I have, yeah, but if my gameplay options that I chose to win affect my meta progression, I'm stuck trying to balance playing how I want to and progressing a story I'm not going to do well at either. Yeah, Jack. So, I mean, I think you're just reinforcing the point, right? That if you're going to involve these things, then a lot of that craftsmanship comes in how do they reinforce each other. And I think you could have a really interesting experience where you have this conflict between narrative and progression. I think it was Nier Automata that does that in a really interesting way. I think it's Nier Automata. Correct me where I'm wrong here, chat. But there was this really interesting game where you get like all the way to the end, and it's this really tough game, and you're at the final boss, and you're presented with a choice, which is to go and fight the final boss, or delete your save, and your character goes on to become a supporter for someone else who tries to fight the end boss. And if you go through and fight the end boss, then you are swarmed by all these people who are also coming in trying to help that are now controlled by AI and rushing through. And I think that's a fascinating narrative, especially since a lot of that game is talking about like identity and it's a very philosophical game. Ludonarrative dissonance. Yeah, Cubis. I thought that was really fascinating. So like, I think you can have that conflict between narrative and progression if it's done very intentionally. I think a lot of the times, though, we encounter games where people throw in upgrades, where it's like, you gain extra experience, and they don't really think about what impact is this going to have. And really what that does is it forces you to suffer up front in order to have big gains later on, but most of the time people are just going to pick that suffering by default, and so like it's not even really a choice. It's just kind of like what you do unless you absolutely can't. And so it ceases to be an interesting choice. It ceases to become a compelling narrative, and it can create those frustrating moments, like you mentioned, Jack, where it's like, well, I want to do this, but obviously the right option is this, right? It's very frustrating. Don't know what genre to call it, so it's an RPG. Nier Automata was fantastic. Very deep story for that particular genre. Yeah, absolutely. It's not a spectacle fighter. But I mean, yeah, like an action RPG, I think is fair to describe it as. So, yeah. So I am slightly familiar with the term ludonarrative dissonance, but I want to look up the actual definition. Character action game could be Queen Anne, yeah. Ludonarrative dissonance is the conflict between a video game's narrative and... Oh, ludo as in ludology. Okay, yeah, ludo being game. That's the root. Okay. Game narrative dissonance. The conflict between a game's narrative and gameplay. Sure. Got it. Which can lead to the player becoming disconnected from the experience. The term was coined in 2007 by game developer Clint Hocking, who wrote a blog post titled Ludonarrative Dissonance in BioShock. Interesting. In BioShock. I'm curious what he said about BioShock. About the dissonance between the game's narrative and story. Okay. For example, in BioShock, the narrative gives directives while gameplay gives incentives, such as sacrificing. Okay, sure. So the narrative saying, hey, here's your job, but then the player has the ability to interfere with that narrative. Okay, sure. Got it. Cool. Ludonarrative dissonance. Good. Glad I got that stabilized. Thank you, Cubis. Y'all, it's been like an hour. Should we do some game dev? It is so great having you all in here, by the way. Welcome. To all of you who are new, by the way, we are a charitable enterprise devoted to helping people enter the game industry. So we recently held a game jam, and I participated in that. A game jam specifically devoted to building up skill sets. So this was a lot more than just, here's a theme, go build a game. It was, we have a theme, we have a design principle that you're supposed to work in to enhance your understanding and ability to communicate about ludology, about game design. We had critique sessions throughout the game jam, and we had a sponsor, Riverwolf Games. Once again, thank you, Riverwolf Games. prize categories, all the good stuff. And so it was really, supposed to help people build a skill set. I built this silly little thing, this Dexterity Roguelike that doesn't have any rogue elements in it anymore because I had to rip it all out because we did a pivot very late in the game jam as to what kind of game it was going to be. But I made this, and we are going to work on refactoring it. As a reminder, we do have our next game jam coming up in July at some point. We're working out the details. Riverwolf Games will be continuing as a sponsor, and as well, we'll have 2 other new sponsors joining us for that game jam. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a very different style of jam from the last one. Still based around skill growth, just along a different vector. So, very excited about that. Be sure you stick around. We'll be announcing more details as we have them. BioShock Infinite has a hard story narrative. It's tough for people like me to play because of the story. That's interesting, 2D Fighter, because I adored the story in BioShock Infinite. I really loved every part of the story in BioShock Infinite. Did you see the thing about Brax being back? Yes, Jack. I think I am a member of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 53 game dev related discords. And I think of those 53, about 50 of them had some sort of post about brackies coming back. which really showed me I am young when it comes to game dev, because I had no clue who brackies was. But people are very excited about it, and I'm very excited for them. I look forward to the content he produces. He comes with a very well-referred pedigree, so I'm excited to see what comes out. Ludonarrative dissonance is interesting for sure. It's at its biggest when you put down your controller to watch a movie about becoming a better person, interrupted by a game where you commit mass murder. Yeah, one of the biggest moments of ludonarrative dissonance for me was in Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami. If any of you played Hotline Miami, that was one of those games that I thought every single game player needs to play Hotline Miami. I felt this was an important game. In the same way that I felt Jessica Jones was an important show for men and people who identify as men to watch in our society. It is this bizarre, like, acid trip sort of experience where you're constantly going through and just blasting people down with for no reason other than you got a phone call and you need to go do it, and you go put on one of these masks and you just go through, and it's a time attack. Everything about this game is designed to make you go through a level faster and kill more people more efficiently, and it's this really compelling experience, very tight, good gameplay. But then also, the more you go through it, you start to get to the end, and you start feeling more and more uncomfortable with what's happening, and you're like, I don't know. Like, we're starting to kill people. I don't think they really should be killed. And oh no, now we're going into cop precincts, and this is a guy in a wheelchair, man. I don't want to do this game. And like, it gets worse and worse and worse until literally, at the very end, in one of the big emotional climactic moments, I was crying. I was literally crying. I was saying, I do not want to kill this person. Please do not make me kill this person, game. And they literally restricted your input. You restricted your input so that you could only do what the game was telling you to do. And that was a deeply, deeply troubling and powerful moment for me. And then at the very end of the game, spoilers for Hotline Miami, by the way. The very end of the game, you go into these sewers and you track down who's been calling you. And you're like, oh, we're going to get justice. We're going to get back at these people who've been sending on us on all these missions for no reason and, make things right. And you get to the end, and it's just like 2 janitors who hijacked a phone line. And they're in the sewer, and they say, why are you upset at us? You were bored, right? Like, we just gave you what you wanted. You wanted to be entertained. We gave you what you were looking for. And as soon as that line hit, I realized these are the developers of the game. These are the 2 people that made this game. And they were talking to the player. And they were saying, I don't know why you're upset that we put you through this intense, difficult, emotional experience. This is what you wanted, right? You wanted to kill a bunch of people. We gave you what you wanted. And it made me look a lot more closely at my consumption of video game media. And it was a tremendously unsettling and powerful experience. Wait till you start on Unity, you'll be your god. Definitely need to shut off your brain for Hotline Miami. Don't think about the mass murdering. Yeah, or do, and think very deeply about it. Will the game jam still be 9 days? And yeah, it was the opposite for us. There's 75% of us that knows about the game. The game hurt us hard, most likely because there was no warning up front. Yeah. 2D Fighter, we don't know exact timeline details. A lot of it is going to depend on when Pirate Software launches their jam, to be frank, because we're not competing with that. So, Final Fantasy VII with Aerith, I cried. Yeah, Queen Anne. It was a powerful thing. It was a powerful thing to live through, and it's why I think, man, this needs to be like, this needs to be accounted for. You know, this needs to be something that people experience to like shove their faces in it. You know, it's like rubbing the dog's nose in it, right? Like, by the way, not good dog training practice, but just that idea of like, let's actually be aware of what we're doing. Let's consume media in an awake state of mind. And that was tremendously powerful. Okay, well, I said we were going to do some game dev, and that was about 25 minutes ago. We're going to go into ads now. and then when we come back, unless you guys distract me again, we'll do some game dev. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay. I got inspired by Cubis, and I went ahead and just made the entire game during the ad break. So, thanks, Cubis. We're going to go ahead and move on from this now and talk more. No. Yeah. Okay. Great. Let's do this. Should we do this? Let's do this. Okay. first up, I want to go through my scenes here, and I want to pick them apart because there's a lot in here that I think I need to fix up. So first off, we're going to add a child node, and it's just going to be a blank node. And this is going to be like our fight UI template. No, let's not do that. Fight UI. Okay, this is gonna break so much stuff too. My goodness. We're gonna move all this stuff inside of here just to tidy this up. All right. Well, this is all going way inside here. I recognize everything's gonna get broken here. That's fine. That's fine. We'll deal with it. Throw our timer bar in there. Turn timer doesn't need to be in there. These do, and then the powers could probably be in their own thing. This would be powers. Bloop. Come on, all the powers. And then player health block goes in the fight UI, energy bar goes in the fight UI, and then we'll make a new node for audio. Whew. Boy, I gotta, okay, hold on. Close tabs to the right. New node, and this will be audio, and we'll just throw all these stream players into there. And we'll add a new one for timers. Hey, Wacko Jacko. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Good to see you. How you doing today? Throw all those in there and there. And we'll just do timers in here. This is going to break everything. My goodness. When am I releasing it, Jack? No, I'm not going to release it. No. No, this is just for me. Hey, Captain Fubar. Good to see you. How are you, friend? Doing housekeeping? Yeah. So we're working on the whole game jam thing, right? That this was a game jam that I am now refactoring now that I've come to understand a lot more about how Godot functions and what are the basics and how to structure things. I'm going through and trying to tidy it up a lot more. So that's the idea, yeah. A few errors there. We're not gonna pay attention to those. Don't look at those yet. Wacko Jacko doing pretty good. I'm looking to get into game dev, so I've been looking at a bunch of streams like this. Nice, Wacko. Welcome on in. Well, you're in the right place. This is so Foxhollow Games. I am not that great of a game dev, but what we are, which I think is of value to people, is that we are a charitable enterprise devoted to helping people enter the game industry or get into game dev. So welcome on in. It's a pleasure to have you here. If you're looking to kind of grow and appreciate your skill set, it's a great place to be. Welcome in. It's good to have you. Lucky for you, many of the people in the community are much better developers than I am. So people here, we're all about trying to help each other and sharing each other's wins and get excited about each other's stuff. So it's good to have you here. Welcome in. I just got started in November for context. So you can go back to those early November streams and be very uncomfortable about the recording quality. We all stream game dev, go down the list for real, 2D Fighter. Yeah, it's a very, very tight-knit sort of community, which is rad. I had no idea what I was stepping into, and I've just, it's been so cool seeing everyone around here. Okay, actor parent, I feel like we need to get rid of this somehow. This feels like it needs to be here because I am bad at getting that. So we'll deal with that later. So we have our UI here. We've got our powers, which is also a part of UI. How do I want to structure this? Do I move all this out of this? Because we have basic template stuff. Maybe we do. Maybe we move all this stuff. The block and the health amounts out. I think that's probably a good idea. And then we will make a couple new nodes. We'll have the villain. Oh, we need to change node type to just be a node. So you're basically just a folder. Then we move you in, and then the villain health block name and intention label all go into here as well. We need to grab our players stuff. No, darn it. F2 player. Mainly just like to procrastinate using other people, so... Oh, shoot. Player... Oh, dear. Player... objects, I guess? Player nodes. And we'll do this for villain nodes to keep the naming consistent. Drive the powers into there, and then player health block can go in there. Woo! What happened to player health block? We'll just fix that up. Oh, dear. Hold on one second. I gotta take a quick phone call. Be right back. Okay. It was a spam call. So, let's see. How big do we have this guy? It's player health block. In fact, I need to make this as its own scene. I need to make, like, the UI as its own scene. That's probably what I should do. And then bring in... how do we structure this? My goodness. Should I do, like, the players' side as a scene, and then the villains' side as a scene, and then have the background UI as its own scene? Because we've kind of got that set up right now. So it seems like that would probably be a good idea. Other people here stream game dev? What we're really good at is procrastinating at our own projects. Oh, shoot. Whoa! 2D fighter! What the heck? What? Hold on. This is rad. 2D fighter has been working on some, like, I don't know. Feels demeaning to call it fan art, but some art for Overload. He just started working on it and sent it over to me. He's been asking questions. Look at this concept for Overload as a character. This is super rad. I love this. We can, like, follow his whole process here. So we've got... I told him it's kind of going to be like Cyclops mixed with, like, Static Shock, right? So we took that, did the pose. Ugh, this is slow. Keeps on opening it up in the wrong browser. There we go. Added the bone, the flesh. There we go. There's that. Threw the line art on top. We've got our muscles figured out. And then the final. That is super cool. That's really rad, 2D Fighter. Thank you so much for sending that over. That's super cool. Very, very rad. Thank you for sending that. Sick radar. I totally agree. Quantic Flux. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Queen Anne, I love that. Yes. Yes, I agree. All of you are correct. You're all right. Congratulations. How did I get started if I don't... sorry, let me just actually read the... How did I get started, essentially? So, Wacko, the way that I got started was actually in GameMaker. I followed a specific tutorial, and I think it was really good for me. It was exactly what I needed to get started. GameMaker Asteroids tutorial. Done by Masahiro, the official guy for this. Hold on, let me bring it in. Come on. We'll go back to our browser. And then we'll skip the ads in YouTube. So one of these days, I'll get YouTube Premium. So if I get rid of this... There we go. There he is. He basically goes over how to make asteroids in 15 minutes using GameMaker. And it was really great. it got me into it. It was like, oh man, this is an early quick win that like I can make this. I can make this game. This is so cool. Like that was a totally new experience for me. I've been a designer for nearly all of my career. I did a little bit of web dev, but not very intensely. And so being able to jump into this and be like, wow, in 15 minutes I can make asteroids? Like that was so far beyond my realm of possibility. And so being able to jump in, and then like it keeps on going, right? Of like, here's how you make a main menu now that you've done that first one. Here's how to do power-ups. Here's how to do, you know, all these other cool things. And then they also do the same type of thing like for a platformer. And I started going through that of the Windy Woods tutorial. GameMaker Windy Woods tutorial. And started going through that. And by the time I had done both of these series of tutorials, I started to feel very confident that like, okay, I think I can start working on something. And I started working on something. And I started doing... I did the design work and everything for a game that I would like to develop at some point. Spoilers. Of this crazy like incremental platforming game. We analyze the player types of each of these different ones and how can these two genres like reinforce each other. I mean, we got really deep into all this. This is back when nobody was watching, maybe a couple of people. 2D Fighters was probably around when we were doing this one, maybe a couple people here and there by this point. But this idea of like a platformer game that you would run through and go through a level. We even did a prototype here in Figma where you would accrue resources and then try and go back to your cave in order to build out the home base a little bit to increase your ability to go through levels. And then you had like these power-ups you could do like Tetramino style to sort them into your inventory and get special benefits. Like you now have an extra jump, you have an extra life, you can swim in water, all that sort of cool stuff. And most of this got built. We just didn't end up pushing it much farther because after that, I wanted to try out a different project. I did the Pirate Software Game Jam, and that kind of showed me a lot of like, oh, I need to get a lot better at polishing things. This was our Game Jam submission, which was really, really cool. I loved the Game Jam that we did, and I think our submission was very solid in a lot of ways. It was a deck building roguelike strategy rogue game. It was really, it was great. Anyways, it showed me I need to get way better at polishing, so we moved on to this jump game of like a runner roguelike of a dog trying to rescue his owner's soul, and then I got distracted by wanting to learn Godot in time for the Foxhollow Jam, which just wrapped up the other week. So that's kind of been my journey, which you did not ask for. You asked for how did I start, and I have wandered far and wide. But GameMaker was really good to start off with in a lot of ways. And there are projects that I would definitely do in GameMaker. I'm on a journey right now of trying to learn like the 4 major engines of Godot, GameMaker, Unity, and Unreal. So right now I'm just in Godot and I'm keeping on learning. So yeah, Wacko, I don't know if that's helpful for you at all. Narvin, GM is super good for beginners. I can agree to a certain extent. You'll learn as you keep learning GameMaker. Oh, there are some idiosyncrasies that go along with it. Like there are weird things as well that are just like there's no controller. Like in other engines, you can just make an object, and then put a controller on top of it, and now you can move it around. You can't do that in GameMaker. You have to hand build it, which is weird. But definitely would recommend starting up with those tutorials until you kind of get comfortable a little bit, and then start just building something. You know, it's what I did with the incremental game analysis and the Tetramino thing. That whole Tetramino style inventory stuff was crazy powerful for me to learn. I learned all about coordinating, moving from like screen coordinates to grid coordinates and back, and all sorts of crazy stuff. And chat very patiently helped me through all that. So definitely recommend just like trying something. Even though I never finished this, I learned a crazy amount in the process. So Fortunes, I started by being very confused and overwhelmed. I tried a few engines to see which ones I could make a square move in. Start simple and then start recreating mechanics that you like. I think that's a very good idea. Don't don't focus on making a game necessarily. Focus on learning how to build things, and I think you'll get pretty far. Play the game I want you to see. You came in the next project. Okay. You came along during Rescue? Really? I thought you were along a lot earlier than that. Incremental platformer extraction game. Yeah, Narvin. It was a wild ride. It was like paleo themed, so like you had like your little cave you would bring things back to, and then when you cleared out a level, it would kind of, you'd be making an area safe around. It was this kind of fantasy post-apocalyptic thing. Hey, Simon, thanks for the follow. Good to see ya. So like now you've completed this level. Now you're getting 3 wood per second or something, right? And then you'd go into a level, try and beat it, and it would randomize like the enemies and everything. It was crazy. There was a lot of stuff involved in that. You got it, Simon. It's all good. Hearing the journey was also very appreciated. I hope so, Wacko. I hope something in there was helpful in some way. You didn't know about the platformer GameMaker? There you go. Oh, Jack. All right. Okay. Let's go up to 5. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've been throwing the hats on. Y'all are getting slow on the uptake here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. Classic ADHD tangent. I'd recommend Godot, said Jack. Honestly, I'm really enjoying Godot. And if you want to like get really, really good at programming, I would maybe recommend getting away from GameMaker sooner rather than later, just because it is a very different conceptual approach to development than a lot of the other game engines are. So if you want to like get really good at coding, maybe learn GameMaker for a little bit and then transition to something else. If you just want to make a game, GameMaker's great. Learn GameMaker. I prefer the hand building myself. That way everything works exactly how I want. I understand that, Narvin. I don't have the patience for it. So that's kind of where I sit with it. But I definitely hear what you're saying. And I know a lot of people take that approach. That's why a lot of people build their own engines. Like Dark Doombringer, who's a longtime friend of the channel. And others as well. I know we've got a couple of people in here who build their own engines because they want complete control over how stuff functions. So I get that. All the game templates give you the basic for on-screen touch GUI I'm ripping apart in my parts. Oh, very nice, 2D Fighter. Don't be like me and start by making a fighting game. You came along right before I started planning for Rescue. Okay, all right. Stay because of your whiteboard and your talk back. Okay, well, that's good to know. Thank you, 2D Fighter. I'm glad you've been sticking around. Queen Anne, I did a Heartbeast tutorial and quickly diverged from it to make the quirks I needed for my idea. Heartbeast is another online tutorial guy that does a lot of really good work. Yeah. If you don't have an idea, then just kind of throw things together until inspiration strikes. That's another approach. What's your advice for a short-form meme YouTube video about the small sleep game devs get? Simon, that's going to totally depend on your audience and your style. What has worked for me is piggybacking off of popular sounds. So if you go to YouTube and you just open it in an incognito browser and you see what sounds are trending, steal one of those and find a way to work it into the joke. Because then people are automatically invested in that sound. They know what the punchline kind of is going to be, and they're going to be sticking around to see what cool twist you can put on it. That's what's worked for me. That being said, if you're better than I am at comedy, then, you know, you don't have to do that. You can do Al Jokes style, where, by the way, if you're a minor, maybe don't look up Al Jokes. Which I'm sure is the fastest way to get minors to start looking up Al Jokes. You know, who's that musician guy? That, he does a lot of musical comedy, but also just comedy. I can never remember Daniel. Yeah, Daniel Thrasher. He's just a good comedian, and he doesn't need to depend. Thank you, Mothman. He doesn't need to depend on popular sounds because he's just good enough at comedy and people know enough about him to expect good work from him. So, like, he can just go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Al Jokes is great. I cry every time I hear his name because he taught me GameMaker, then left for Godot, just like you, Joe. Well, I haven't left GameMaker. I really haven't. There are games that I do think are going to be better to build in GameMaker than are, GameMaker's a tool. It's a tool like all the other engines. Oh, geez. Okay. All right. Well, hold on. Let's at least go through the order of operations. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. Oh, dear. 3, and then 4, and then clear. Take care, Queen Anne. Thanks for hanging out. So, what am I saying? Yeah, like Moon Hollow, the art piece that's behind me. That's something that I think I would like to do in GameMaker. Because a lot of it is going to be a lot more simple because they have a lot more integrated click functionality and all that sort of stuff. I'm not totally convinced on it yet, but I think we may do it. Stuff like Cursor Quest, or Cursor Quest? Is that what it's called? This one, Cursor Blade. Cursor Blade would make perfect sense to make in GameMaker. It would be way easier to build this in GameMaker, in my opinion, than to build it in Godot. GameMaker just has a lot more built-in functionality around like mouse movement and clicking on things, and detecting what is near to the player or not, what instances are next to each other, sort of a thing. I think would be a lot easier to build in something like this. So take that for what it's worth. Heck, even something like Behold Battle, I think would be a lot easier to build in GameMaker than in Godot. If we start getting into stuff like, stuff like this, I think Godot starts winning. Luck Be a Landlord. I think, these match threes, these more physics-oriented things, especially anything with a lot of physics or collisions, I am going to be running away from GameMaker as fast as I possibly can. But for stuff like this, Cursor Blade and everything, hey, it'd probably be pretty quick to spin up. Let me stop. I'm cheating on GameMaker with Unreal. Yeah, Simon, I don't know if that answered your question or not. But the thing you need to consider basically is, what are people wanting to stick around for? What are people looking for? And then how do you give that to them? And that's the core of everything. I am still learning how to do that. I am still very much not very good at it. There's a reason I don't even have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube yet. Like, I'm working on it. Hold on one quick second. Okay. All right. Years of academy hatting wasted. Oh, shoot. Y'all are points poor. You've been fighting over hats, and meanwhile, I just reap the engagement. Wait until I finish my template project I'm making to take care of those things and mimic starting a game in Unreal. Very cool, Fighter. Listen to all your GameMaker complaints that I'm working on it personally. Make a project. Tell me if it fixes those problems. Oh, very cool, Fighter. Hey, COD Zombies. Good to see you. Welcome on in. Yeah, I'm curious what your experience is going to be going from GameMaker into Unreal, because that's a big shift. GameMaker to Godot is like, yeah, they're still kind of fundamentally 2D engines. Like, Godot can do 3D. It's not the best at 3D, but it definitely can do 3D, but like mostly it's for 2D. Going to Unreal from GameMaker, that's going from like riding a tricycle into jumping into a monster truck. All rewards claimed for the stream. Check again on the next stream. There you go. You played yourselves. I'm actually quite impressed we had 2 clear hats today. Very impressive. I appreciate it. My hair appreciates it. Genuinely, I need to get a haircut because the hat hair has been a problem. Where it... I consistently look terrible. So I need to get my hair shorter so the hat hair is less of a problem. Okay, all right. Enough. I need to reparent this to a new or save branch as seen. Ooh, save branch as seen. I think that's what I want. Save branch as seen. So we're going to go into our scenes. And we're just going to say villain? Can I just do villain? Is that going to be good enough? I'm going to have to, like, reset all this stuff. My goodness. Save branch as seen. This is going to be player. Okay, that worked. Okay. Get rid of all this. And then we're going to save branch as seen. This is going to be the fight UI. Okay. Streamer life problems. Unreal does everything I'm making in GameMaker out of the box. It's not as hard as people say it is. Just need to understand game development. Then you're just looking for the tools in Unreal, not building tools. Yeah, that makes sense, Fighter. That's kind of my fundamental gripe with GameMaker is just you have to do so much on your own. And I just, like, I hear Narvin's point, but, like, if you don't want control over everything necessarily, you don't want to guarantee that everything works exactly the way that you would expect. Like, if I can get 80% close enough, like, I'm kind of just happy to get 80% as close for 20% of the work. And then if I really feel it's important for the project, then I can invest the extra time, but I don't have to. And that's kind of where I sit with GameMaker right now. Okay, so let's open up these scenes. And I'm going to have to, like, fix up just, like, everything. And then we have fight scene. I'm going to rename this to not be fight scene and just be fight. Yeah, this is the fight scene. Okay, great. And then we can rename it in our thing here. And we have ads starting in just a minute. The only problem with out-of-the-box solutions is when they don't do what you want, it can be a real problem convincing it to work another way. That's very true, Tiny Devil. It's very true. Forgot to tell you, but I played the game you made for the jam, and I love it. Oh, well, thank you so much, Kodzamis. Thank you for taking the time to play it, and thank you for giving me some of that feedback. I appreciate that. I'll always be very biased towards GameMaker and it being a great engine. All right, we got ads. We'll be right back. Yeah, Narvin. So, I think for me, GameMaker is in a really weird spot because it seems like it's trying to be... Hold on, let me draw this out. It seems like it's trying to be for beginners, but it's also like really good and really bad for beginners. So, if we have like skill level down here, So your skill, and then we'll say compatibility, for lack of a better word. Like how good this engine is for you, right? Excuse me. How on earth did I mistype this? There we go. Compatibility. Okay. I feel like GameMaker has this very strange curve where it's like you start off and it's really strong for people who are just barely getting started. And then as soon as you start diving in a little bit, it dips down into like, this is no longer very compatible for you. And then when you get really good at game dev, it's like, okay, no, this is actually really cool. It's like this really weird inverse bell curve. And I don't understand it. Because like you can jump in and in 15 minutes you can start building asteroids. And it's great. And then you start trying to build some more complex stuff, but you're not very good at programming yet. And you're like, oh, I have to build my own physics? Oh, that's not fun. And oh, I have to make my own UI? Oh, that's awful. What do you mean draw GUI doesn't like interact with anything? Like all that weird stuff. But then you get like really good at programming and you're like, I understand how to build physics. I can do this. And you just win, right? Like that's the weird tension for me. So it's really good when you start out and it's really good when you're really good, but if you're in this messy middle, kind of like I am, I feel like it's not the best. Isn't that the Dunning-Kruger effect? By the way, DDXDD, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. Thought you were going to make a game, not math. What do you think games are, COD Zombies? What do you think games are? It's what Pirate Software was on, and he's a computer whiz. Yeah, I mean, I as much as I don't want to, like, hero worship Thor, just because, like, I think he's a very cool dude, and he deserves all the success coming to him. Hero worship tends to cause problems, though, just in general. I think that it is a testament of, like, he does know what he's doing, and he chose to build a game in GameMaker. And you look at Heartbound, and you see, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Like, when you learn what GameMaker is really good at and what it's not very good at, Heartbound makes perfect sense as a project in that engine. It makes perfect sense as a game in that engine. You're complaining about that and stuff, and I love that stuff. But see, Narvin, like, I kind of get the impression you're further along here than I am, right? Like, you're kind of up this curve, right? And you enjoy that climb. Whereas for me, the coding of it is kind of like just an obstacle. Like, it's the thing I have to do in order to build a game. I don't really enjoy coding for coding's sake. I enjoy coding in the sense that it helps me to build something incredible. And I love that. I love bringing something to life. But just the pure logic puzzle of coding, like doing coding challenges and stuff, I cannot muster the cares. I think he would be using Godot if it was available when he started his game. It's very possible, Narvin. Yeah. He started the game 6 years ago. 6 years ago. 6 years ago. And Godot was not what it is today. Yeah, it's very fair, Narvin. It's very fair. It's very fair. And to be fair, GameMaker's an old engine. Like, it's been around for a long time. So that has a lot of pluses for it, right? There's a lot of time for people to develop an understanding of it in a powerful way. So, you know, there you go. Okay, cool. The advantage for beginners is that they then understand how to do all those things once they have been through the pain in the first place. If you never go through the pain, you never understand. I agree, Tiny Devil. I was actually thinking about this during the break. That, like, because I was building controllers in GameMaker, when I moved to Godot and I brought that controller in, I was like, oh, I know exactly how all this works. I know how to modify this if I need to make the movement be exactly what I want it to be. Thor gave the best explanation on exporting your project. Okay, I'm curious, 2D Fighter. You have my curiosity. Okay. So we're preloading all of these symbols in here. And we're loading this in a symbol array. And we've named the symbol manager. I'm going to rename this script. to just be fight script. That's gonna break. Oh man, I'm breaking everything. Everything is breaking right now. We have all these powers. Power chain lightning equals $ power. Okay. Oh, and these are the symbols that we're loading in. Okay. Magnet, we don't need. The rest of them we are using. And I think they are good to have here. Can spawn equals true. Okay. We have our powers. And these are all broken now. Where are we using these powers? Where is like power _ shock getting used? Or power array. Where's power array getting used? Okay, this is the hint text that we're doing. So like showing stuff that is being completed or not. Quantic Flux, no problem so much. Thanks so much for hanging out. It was great to see you. I'm glad you jumped in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, and I can't wait to keep on watching what you produce, because you do a lot. You make a lot of videos, my friend. My goodness. Your throughput is out of this world. Right on. Right on. Let's see, there's one that I had queued up that I want to watch. What was it? It was... Oh, yeah, End of the Necrovale. Definitely want to keep watching that. Oh, yeah, and your IT startup thing. Oh, although it just feels so depressing to even click into. Okay. Actual coding? This isn't why I come here. Of course it isn't, Jack. That's why I have to do it. Because I need to get you to go to bed. Isn't it late where you are? This is about when you tend to nod off, right? Okay. Is power active? We're taking in the power name, setting it to false. We're saying for I in power array dot size. I'll be alive a little bit longer. Okay. Right on, Jack. If power array at I dot active, then set is active. Wow, this is a mess. Jeez. If not is active, emit clear combo. What is clear combo? Like, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, should I just rebuild everything from scratch? Because, geez. Where's this? This is in power parent. What does clear combo do? Power name dot self modulate dot a equals 1. So we're setting our transparency to full opacity. And setting all of our symbols to full opacity. Okay. So I think this is power active stuff. This needs to go into Subham. Thank you so much. It needs to go to you. The powers go straight to Subham. Welcome on in. Good to see ya. We need to rip this out. We need to rip this out. Oh, man. We do, right? How do I structure this? What's the actual tree here? Let me go back to our browser. So, architecturally speaking, we have... very cool. Very cool, Subham. We have our fight, right? Got the fight. And then within the fight, we have our player, which has its own health. It has block. It has powers. Okay. And then each of those powers is like power 1, power 2, power 3, etc., right? But the symbols are being created up here in the fight. But maybe they shouldn't. Maybe the symbols... Because we have the player with health and block, and then we also have the villain, which has health, block, intention, and the turn timer. And that's kind of the way it's set up right now, and everything is within fight, but I think maybe we need to pull stuff out of fight and say we need to have like a symbol manager that's actually dedicated to that. Symbol spawner. Symbol spawner. And then we can have symbols that when clicked emit, and then powers can listen for that emission. That sounds like a better way to architect it, right? So we signal up, and then the powers can hear that, and then they adjust their opacity appropriately. One thing we do need to do is we need to be checking if all of the powers, if all of the powers are in an inactive state, which is to say you have selected some combination of dots that is none of them, then it needs to reset everything. Ooh, excuse me. It needs to reset everything, right? So there does need to be some sort of overarching parent for the powers. So this does need to exist. It can't just be power 1, power 2, power 3 outside of any parent element. There needs to be like a powers block that can read all of its children. But then each power needs to be its own scene, parented in. Okay. I think this is making sense. I think that's making sense. Okay. My goodness. Godot. There we go. Had to find the right window. By the way, I found... Hey, take care, Cubus. Thanks so much for hanging out. Good to see you. I did find a couple of new monitors as well, but I need to hook up on some arms so I can have my monitors up here to like monitor all the chat stuff, so I can have fewer windows on the main thing and spend less time wrestling with windows and more time actually doing streamer work. So excited about that. Okay. So let's go to our player scene, and then we have powers. This needs to be its own thing. So powers, save, and then we open up powers, and then you are going to have... So this is a tricky thing. Right now, these are all statically defined. These are the powers you have access to. And the way I want to move the game into is, instead of like picking relics for the roguelike side, instead you swap out the powers as you would like. So I need to think about how we would actually do that. And I think the answer is just instantiating those in the code. So in the some global player type sort of space, we have an array of what the powers are, and then this can access that and instantiate based off of those at runtime. That makes sense to me. Okay. Okay. I think that's what we're going to do. Whew. And it hurts to just delete all these. Can we reparent? I was wondering if there was a quick way to reparent to new node. Ah, lovely. Okay. Archive. All right. Powers. New script. Do we have a scripts folder? Because if we don't have a scripts folder, we definitely should. Oh, look at all those. Look at all that folder structure. That's so gross because we were sprinting through the game jam and trying to get that working. Speaking of game jams, I'm still trying to decide if I should if I should try and build something real quick for Jackie's game jam. I didn't know about it until there were only 4 days left, and now I think there's maybe 3 days left. So I don't know if I would like to, unless people would actually like to see that happen, in which case I'd be more than happy to make it happen. Let's move all of our scripts out. That's going to make this way more legible. Okay. Grab all those. You are now in scripts. Good. And we have all of our scenes, and I need to organize these scenes too. We'll get to that later. Okay. I'm compelled to do it. The themes are really interesting and fun. I like the themes. It's like alchemy and feed the beast, which is like, okay, that immediately brings to mind a couple of really cool game ideas. But it's kind of a lot of work to do a game jam. So I think we're going to need more than just Jack. Jack, as much as I appreciate you, I think we're going to need more than just one person to say yes is what that would be worth sticking around for. That makes sense to me. I know I'm right. When I'm right, I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I'm still right when because I could have been wrong. What? Fighter? You okay? What's going on? I represent chat. I'm the, what's it called? Oh shoot, there's a term for this in film when you have like a community of characters represented by one person. You know, like you have the mob show up and then like the one person that ends up talking for everyone. Can't remember. Okay. So really, we want to be having some sort of a funkity funk. Wacko Jacko, thank you so much for the follow. You'll join the jam if I do, Tutti Fighter. Oh man. How much time is left on that? Itch.io/jams. And where is Jackie's? That's the thing, like I can't even find it when I search for it on her page. Yeah, when I go, like, she Jackie, you're fantastic and a much more successful streamer than I am. I learn from you all the time. But for real, you got to do better at marketing this thing. I've joined their stream many times over the last few days looking for some sort of indicator of this jam, and I can't find a darn thing about it. And going to the Itch Jams page, I see nothing about this. I cannot find it. It's driving me crazy. In progress. Jack. Do you want the link? I would love the link. Fortune's favorite. Justin Helps sent the link when I was in his chat once. And I looked at it, but it's on my laptop and not on my desktop that I stream from. I literally cannot find. Thank you. Jackie Codes Jam. Why was that so impossible to find? First off, following her on Itch, but second off, where the crap is that? Like, how do I find that? Okay. Explore all jams. In progress. Now that I have the name, I literally cannot find it in progress. It's hard to find because it isn't marketed. I know, that's what I'm saying. She needs to pick that up a little bit. Like, listen, I'm sure Fox Hollow Jam was not the best marketed either, but, like, I am actively trying to join your jam and I cannot. Good things are hard to find. Preach, Tutti Fighter. Then why are you asking? What do you mean, why am I asking? What am I asking about? Captain Enoso, welcome in. Good to see ya. I am doing much better. I'm at, like, 95% right now. So I'm doing much better. The family's doing much better. We're getting there. So we've got 3 days left. The themes are Feed the Beast or Alchemy. You can do both. Oh, there is a prize. Oh, there you go. Why is it so hard to find Jackie's Jam when you know it isn't marketed? But, like, even going to Itch's page, I can't find it. That's the weird thing. Like, when I was looking for it, I couldn't find it, which is bizarre. And I don't know if that's Jackie or Itch, but, like, going to the Itch Jam page, if we go here, I cannot find it anywhere. I do a search for it, I can't find it. If I filter on in progress, then... see, I don't even care about most joined or anything. But I search through the 3 pages of in progress. And, like, it's not like search isn't hitting the page. It's just, it's literally not in here. It's actually not in the in progress list of game jams. And I don't know why, because it's clearly in progress. I don't know what's going on. I only heard of Jackie's Jam today, actually. Foolbox told us about it. There you go, Captain Inosa. Yeah. No, but, and thank you for asking how we're doing. Yeah, I appreciate that. We're on the recovery. We're doing well. Yeah, thanks. I want to do a jam when I'm finished with my template. The jam will be whatever you can make with it, and you get the template for free, of course. Cash prizes I'm saving for now. That sounds awesome, Tootie Fighter. I'd love to participate in that. That'd be rad. It's just a pain. It's so hard to find jams I've entered. I guess so. Okay. Okay. Well, you guys convinced me. Why work on making a project better if I can just distract myself by working on a new project? Oh, shoot. Let's do it. This is Jackie Code's Game Jam 1. I'm gonna delete all this. Okay. Oh, you know what? I want to do that too. Okay. Whew. All right. Let's do this thing. Hey, Connie Dev. Good to see ya. Is it a Godot jam? It is kind of Tootie Fighter. It's aimed at getting people who are interested in Godot and a helpful environment and initiative to start up. Since could use some work. But which game engine can you use? You can use any game engine. But if you use Godot, she will open up times in her live streams dedicated to helping people who are building in Godot. So you can use whatever you want. Yeah, Connie, how's it going? How's my favorite Kenku overlay creator? Trying to expand from doing games. I don't feel like I actually know how to code because I don't know anything beyond game engines and like coding mass functions in Python and VB. There you go. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that a lot in the stream about how like if you want to have a good, solid career, don't learn game dev. learn like web dev, and then once you get good at that, port those skills over to game dev, and then you'll have a job for pretty much ever. Constraints. We have time. Not a lot of days left. 3 days left exactly at the time of this writing. And then we have the themes. Whoops. Feed the Beast and Alchemy. Yeah. Okay. What other constraints? Not a whole lot, to be frank. You can use asset packs as long as you have the rights to use them. You just can't use stuff you built before the jam. Show credits. 3 members in a team max. Be into the Discord, I am. And don't steal each other's work. Okay, that's not a lot of constraints. I'm gonna see what I wrote down over here to see, like, what did I put down here? Yeah, let's throw out our roadmap again. Like a good no progress in anything I want to do because life. Connie. I'm doing very well, thanks. We're recovering from a stomach bug that was flying around the house, and finally we're kind of getting across that, which is great. So excited to be getting back into some game dev on the stream. Yeah. What do you mean by web dev? Is that just HTML, CSS, or more backend thing? And at some point in the future, would you mind explaining it in more detail? Yeah. So what I mean with web dev, you could do front end or back end. So back end, you're talking about servers and databases and stuff. Front end, you're talking about rendering things to the user, right? So that's when you're going to start getting into frameworks like React, and you're going to be getting into all of your fun JavaScript extension type sort of stuff. So both of those have really strong careers. Front end web devs are always in need of. There's always roles open for front end web dev. Very rare they get hit by layoffs, as opposed to like a game dev, which gets hit by layoffs and instability fairly regularly. So, okay. So I need to have gameplay built by the end of day tomorrow, Thursday. Then I have Friday for a usability pass. And then I have Saturday for polish. And then I have to submit. That's not a lot of time. That gives us 3 days, 1 day for each thing. What is gameplay that I can build in 1 day? Things I know I can do quickly. Platforming. Basic platforming. Because Godot does that very well. I can do button clicking really quickly. All right, take care, Jack. Have a good night's rest. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. I can do spawning. Spawning I've gotten kind of okay at between the Godot course and this other stuff that I've been working on the stream. Oh, we have ads starting. Yeah, I guess we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Tutti Fighter, guess I need to start getting a project together. One of these jams I want to make Shogun Showdown. I got to join me on Joe, and whoever wants to join, I already have a good idea on how to make my own. Very cool, Tutti Fighter. Connie and Fortunes. God. All right. You bunch of ridiculouses. Clickable grid movement. Oh, very cool. Interesting. Okay. Button clicking, spawning. What are other things that I think I can do quickly? I mean, basic collisions. And this isn't sounding like a lot right now, but it's kind of getting there. Things I know I can't do quickly, I have learned. Stat stuff. So, like, doing relics and everything always takes a little bit longer than I'm expecting. And especially doing cool relics, because it requires writing new code for each of those relics, unless it's just a straight up stat increase, which is boring. So I need to get better and faster at that sort of thing, but I've also learned not to underestimate how long that takes. Things I know I can't do quickly, action, combat sort of stuff. I'm going to do, like, precision gameplay or combat. I've never actually built, like, action combat, which is something that I want to learn. I want to learn how to do. I don't know that a jam where I only have 3 days left to go is the time to do it. What else? What else? What are things that I've experienced like, oh no, that's not good. Oh, fortunes. You know what? For the sake of speed, I think we're going to leave it there. Things I know I can't do quickly, which means there is a giant volume list of things I don't know I can't do quickly. Things I want to learn. I want to play more with particle effects. I started learning about that in this Godot course. I really want to keep going on that, particle effects and shaders. Things I want to learn. I think it would be rad to try something a bit simpler than I normally do. I tend to go a lot more into like the RPG side of things with like a lot of heavy stats and everything. I think I'd like to try something a little more basic. Teach you when you want to learn combat. It's in my name, plus you can use the information in any engine. That sounds great, 2D Fighter. That's awesome. I'd love that. So like something more a simple concept, because I have yet to build a game that is actually a simple concept. I keep on getting distracted by trying to turn it into a roguelike or trying to increase the scope to be something that like I could see myself playing dozens of hours of, right? I want to draw that down. I'm really inspired by Narvin and Memory Overload in that way. He just had a cool concept, and like that was enough. So I want to really focus on concept. Hey, Nepal! Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. How you doing? It's great to have you in here. Welcome on in. For 3 days, you need to really scope down. Yeah, Tiny Devil, I completely agree. Especially if I want to have all the mechanics built by the end of the day tomorrow. When I'm not going to be working on this like all day, right? It's going to be a couple hours here and there. So it's got to be something real quick. So, okay. So I want to work on refining down to a simple concept. I think that's going to be really healthy for me. Do I recommend streaming without a webcam? I think that's a complicated subject. At the end of the day, what I recommend doing is if you want to stream, do whatever you got to do in order to reduce the barriers so that you can stream. And that's what it comes down to. If you want to make a living off of it, if you want to make money and have that be your primary form of employment, that's when things get a little bit trickier. We can go into a much deeper conversation. But if you just want to like stream, have fun, do whatever you want to do. Look at old arcade games. Yeah, 2D Fighter. So actually, kind of what I'm kind of thinking about is like as I was thinking about refining a simple concept, I've been thinking about almost like a Dig Dug type sort of idea. And let's start doing our lightning demos down here. Although there was a step before lightning demos of, oh yeah, these were things that, oh no, these were the extractions from the lightning demos. Okay, got it. So, Dig Dug, I think, is a compelling, simple concept. I think, Fortunes. Oh, man. All right. I was ahead of you. I was 3 alternate dimensions ahead of you, Fortunes. Okay. I'm kind of getting this idea of like, almost like a Overcooked type sort of experience. Less memey. Bring that in here. And kind of what I'm visualizing, I'm already running away with an idea in my head, is have this central space that you platform around in. And there are ingredients. So we've got you, right? You got all these different things to incorporate. And in the middle, you have a giant, like, witch's cauldron pot or some sort of monster or something, a cultist summoning something or something, I don't know. And they're kind of in the background, and you're this little player. And they will spit out instructions. This is going to feel very familiar to friends of the program. It's going to feel very much like Overload. And it's like, here, grab me all these. And then you have to go jump up, grab the thing, throw it in, and do that in the order. If you do Dig Dug, I'll do Pac-Man. 2D Fighter. So I kind of like that from a conceptual standpoint, but my question now is like, what is the impediment? What is the thing that is going to introduce tension? Because right now, this isn't so much a game as it is a job. So how do we game this? How do we bring in conflict to make this more difficult for the player? Obvious ideas that come to mind, we have enemies. Right? The problem is, that starts to be combat. Which, I stated up here, I know I can't do this quickly. So if there were to be enemies, we would have to not have them be fightable. These would be things that you avoid. Then that also starts to lean it more towards precision gameplay. Which I don't want. Because I can't do that very fast. Avoid or jump on. You could do jump on. It's true, you could. I mean, then you have to kind of detect which direction you're falling from, and I've done that in the past in GameMaker, but not in Godot, and I don't have a lot of confidence I'd be able to do it very fast. I wonder if there's a way to like transform this into a memory game. So it's not action-y. What if it's memory-based? So like, these are in pots. And the symbols come out of the pot for a little bit and then slide back in. He asks for this symbol. And then you have, it all swaps around. And then you have to go grab that one as it is. Then why do we have the platforming though? The platforming kind of becomes unimportant. You could just click on it. Oh man, and my brain is already going wild. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool. Like, what if you could eat these for boosts? Like, you eat a red one and you get a double jump, and you eat the blue one and now you go faster. But then it's like, that's effectively rogue stat stuff, which I know I can't do quickly. How do I draw this down? How do I make it more simple? I'll call it, honey, I think I left the baby at the park. Oh, geez, that's way scarier than hit the wrong grandparents. Oh, man. So how do we draw that down? So the player's abilities stay consistent. The player's ability stays consistent. And the game reacts to the player's capability in interesting ways for just like a couple of levels. It's all you need for a jam. You could do a puzzle game. And then what would that even be though? Like color mixing? Like he asks for orange? What if it's not colors? What if it's symbol mixing? You know, like that one game that kind of went viral for a little bit ago where you like mix different words together and it makes new words. What if it was something like that? So like you have basic ingredients like Eye of Newt and plasma and chthonic ooze, and he asks for I don't know, a slime covered newt but more cleverly hidden, and you're like, oh, okay, I think if I combine the newt and the slime, then that will get me, you know, what we're looking for there. Maybe I could maybe do that, because then it's largely just logic puzzles and then a pretty simple coding of what does each symbol combination create? That could work. Navigate through the park maze to find what level you left your baby at, but avoid people judging you for being a bad dad. Yikes. Yikes. I think I'm gonna go with this puzzle game route. This seems like the most compelling to me, of kind of like mixing different things. I've got to define this out a little bit more though. With that being said though, we are unfortunately at the end of our time. We've actually been going longer than we normally have because I started kind of late today. So we're going to go ahead and raid out. Thank you so much for hanging out and for being here. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here with us. We're going to raid into someone doing some game dev. Who should we raid into? Should we do... I feel like I raid into Bug Us all the time. Alarming ride. Sorry for bothering you. I want to... oh. You're not sorry for bothering me. How dare you? How dare you lie? Cetalix? Yeah, let's raid into Cetalix. Good call, Connie Dev. We're going to raid into Cetalix. Great developer doing some great stuff. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out. It's been a great time coming back after the sickness of getting distracted, doing a few minutes of refactoring, and then getting distracted by a game jam. What could be better? Thank you to all of you. I'm going to keep working on this in the meantime. There will be more to see here when we get back tomorrow. With that being said, we are a charitable enterprise devoted to helping people enter the game industry. So if that sounds like a good ride for you, if you've had a good time here, I invite you to like, follow, subscribe, whatever platform you're on. It means the world to me. It is foundational to us being able to actually help people in the way that we want to. Our vision is not simply a stream. Our vision is to provide a structure that really helps people make meaningful transitions in their lives. So if that sounds good, thank you for your followship, patronage, whatever it may be. And with that, we'll see you next time.